focus or whatever. But the Terminator himself, or Mr. Anderson, Mr. Wiener, it's a pleasure. How are you this Sunday morning?
Doing great. Just at the beautiful Eddie Logan suite, watching the morning workouts, hanging in
That's
there.
right. You got a couple, or what do you have going on?
I got it. My horses worked at 7:45, so we saw them work. It was fun. She went
What's
back to the
what?
barn, and now she's in heat, so that's great.
So what do you do? Do you wait till she's out of heat to put her back in the training or what?
I have no idea. That's up to the trainer. That's what I pay them for. I don't know. I handicap. That's not usually on the handicap lines in heat. Never seen that yet.
I mean, I don't know if it would help or I mean, you know what's funny is that horse Talismanic who won the Breeders' Cup Turf. I saw that horse and he had the biggest schlong of all time in the paddock because that filly was in that race.
Really? Well,
So,
I'm surprised he didn't just chase her home.
well, he
That
was in
used to be
front of
the
her.
reason you bet the. Well, I'm saying, but usually when you bet the Wesley Ward would enter the fillies against males, he would always win sometimes, and everybody said because the guys would just follow her home. Another
Yeah, well,
great handicapping angle from the Wiener.
yeah, well, you you gotta you gotta have something. You gotta bring in something. Now, most people don't know how good you are. I think they do, but they don't. So,
Nah,
and it doesn't matter, right? But it's like still, you've won God knows how many like mythical games and big games. Why don't you just give us a little like flavor of like some of the things you've done?
well, in the past days when online contests started, I won the first $100,000 online game on Derby Wars at the time, and that was exciting. And I'm a mythical player. I'm not great at live money tournaments because I like money. And to me, when I'm up to 50, 60,000 at the Breeders' Cup, I'm happy. I have 50, $60,000. It's like when you go fishing, and I asked my dad, I go, Dad, why are we fishing? We already have shrimp. When I looked at the bait, I already have shrimp. So why do I go fishing? I already have 60,000 at the Breeders' Cup. I'm not going all in to win. I don't need to win this tournament that badly. It's not worth me risking. So maybe I'm not risk averse with the money because I've worked 30 years hard in my life to get to where I am, and I don't want to risk that. Me and my wife Sarah retired 10 years ago, and we're happy. We don't need to win tournaments with money that we could use to do something else with. I've won the Saratoga tournament for over 100,000. I've won a couple of 4-star Daves, the Kentucky Derby betting challenge. Many online contests. Just normal. I was much better 15 years ago. So many of the newer players really don't know me. I used to try hard, handicap, play every day, every night. I loved it. So they kept me busy while I was traveling on the road, almost nonstop for business.
Yeah, you started a pretty cool business, and I remember you were telling me you built these boards for these candles, these electronic candlesticks for churches, right?
Yeah, I invented electronic candle systems for Catholic churches in about 1989. Instead of going to law school, I invented that while I was waiting to go to law school for a friend to join me, and that was that. No law school, and I just did that for been going on 35 years now, 36 years.
Love it. I love the entrepreneurial spirit, and I think that it was even cooler hearing you tell me that you could stop in different cities and play the horses on the weekends.
Yeah, and dogs at night, and wherever my appointments were set around the country, at what state, I just plan on. I saw the appointments like 2 weeks ahead of time, so I booked the hotels. Like if I was in Houston, I go to Gulf Greyhound or Corpus Christi, or if I was in South Texas, I go to Harlingen Greyhound, or catch the tracks on the weekends or fairgrounds. I was in New Orleans and stuff, so it was great.
How do you win at slots, dude? I still hear you, this is insane. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, it's well, there's certain slots that have a tell. It's not going to tell you when it's going to win. What it tells you is that somebody has lost, or many people have lost for quite a while. to fill up these certain things, and certain things light up on the board. And other machines, you have to know which machines are doing that on purpose to get you to play, that fill up fast, that are not going to hit
Mm.
right away. But some machines are hard to get to that level of tell that's ready to hit. So you have to know your machines. You have to know what uh, denominations are not commonly wagered, so that denomination and amount and line numbers and all that are ready to hit. Each machine has to hit a certain amount of times by law and then each game at different levels are separate games. So if 88 nickels hasn't been hit for a long time, well, that one's due. So you have to find the denomination, the machine and the denomination that's ready to hit, and then you move on to the next one and the next one and the next one.
Man, I can't. That's just beyond me. I know you're like a Rain Man, dude, and it's cool. I'm glad I got to sit with you at the Keeneland tournament. That was doesn't happen very often, but it was cool to. And you and I were on at least one of the same horses. I remember. Um, but do
Yeah,
you?
you won. You did quite well. You bet that crazy horse that I wouldn't bet in a million years, and you won. You did great.
It's funny, and when you say crazy, it's a 5-2 shot or whatever, 9-5 shot. But I know it's at the end of the day, dude. It's like when you play these tournaments, um, you have to find your niche, and there's certain things I look for, and a lot of it has to do with process of elimination, because there'll just be a lot of races where I just don't want to get invested in, and like you said, you're kind of picky, about what you play now. I mean, obviously you're grinding like crazy in the beginning, and now it's just like, I mean, what do you think of the state of the product right now, given how small fields, the lack of competitors? Like, do you have like this ache in your soul when you look at the races each day?
Today's card at Santa Anita, we have a contest here, which is anything goes today. So you could bet anything from show to pick six and everything in between. Today's card, if there's an over a 2-to-1 shot that wins, it would be a miracle. So it's not like you could go and hit a pick five and win this contest. The pick five could pay $100, and yes, even if you have it 10 times, you're not 15 times, you're not going to win the tournament. But yet you have your money tied up for 15, until the last race, and then you don't have enough to win even if you hit it. So it's yes, this product here is horrible. With 5-6 horse races. I mean, I've watched 2 and 3 horse races the last couple days at Monmouth and stuff, and it's just ridiculous. There needs to be a consolidation within tracks to get more horses at one track at one single time. It can never happen in the in what's going on now, because everybody's just money hungry, pulling at every dollar that's out there until there will be no dollars is the problem. There's only a reservoir of dollars, and when it runs out, that's it. It's hard to get that water back in or money back in. But yet, I'm at Santa Anita. They want to put historical racing machines here to raise the purses, to bring more horses in, to pay the people more, to get people at the track so they could do casino and turn it into a racino, but it's blocked by the state because of the laws favoring the Indian casinos. Well, if this place dries up right now in front of me, the 5,000 people that surround this place, working and everything, and vendors, lose their income. Well, with no income, they can't go to the casinos at night, Yamava and stuff. So it's a never-ending cycle. The more, if there's a slot machines here on historical racing, purses go up, more people come here at night. They turn into gamblers. So at night they go to the casinos. So it benefits the casinos for this place to do well, but yet they're sucking them dry. They can't get the historical racing machine to supplement the purses to make the fields bigger. So I mean, everybody has to work together, but you can't, because Churchill Downs will never work with Stronach, which will never work with X, will never work with X to get the racing schedule interstates worked out. That it's just the product is just so watered down on a weekend that there's no central planning to help it out right now.
Yeah, no, it's painful. It hurts my soul, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing this show. Is I really want to think about bringing the community of horse players together to mobilize, but also to think about reaching younger fans. But I mean, when the product is so thin, and I don't see a way out of this. Um, I I mean, with the land in Santa Anita being worth $1 billion to $2 billion or whatever it is, it's just the writing's on the wall. So I think when California shuts down, I think most of those horses will probably go to Kentucky. I think maybe Florida, but I don't know. I don't think
I
this
don't,
is.
I,
Yeah.
the California, raves themselves as wanting open spaces, and I mean, there's nothing better than Santa Anita here. Right here is open space, healthy space. We have a fair in the middle here. We have another festival going on the infield. I mean, it's a great place to build up instead of drag down and sell. So, I mean, it should be a state historical uh, place anyway for what has gone on through
Yeah.
here. I think Santa Anita stays open. I think eventually they get turn this into a casino, and I think Del Mar eventually turns their Surfside next to it into a casino, and I think everybody flourishes in the near future. I have a feeling about this. There's some words in the wind.
Well, it's kind of like you had a feeling about Seattle winning the Super Bowl, and you were right.
And it
So
wasn't a feeling. That was my pattern handicapping.
yeah,
Every time the Pope changed the last since the Super Bowl era, Seahawks won. So we had a Pope change, Habemus Papam, and that that was obvious. The last two times Seattle won when there was a Pope change during the year. We had one this year, 3 for 3 now. It was just a sign. It wasn't. It was just pattern handicapping.
I love it. I love patterns. I know it's it's part of the game that I think you have to go deep in the science and then you come back around. But you're right. I know. I thought the Rams. I had a earlier future book bet on them at like 30 to 1, 20 to 1 or something. But yeah, so I guess I like your optimism. I think it's. I know that Santa Anita is on historical land, so there is going to be some legal stuff that would
Hope
need to
so.
happen
Yeah.
in order for it to be sold. But you know, I'd hate to see Del Mar go away. I don't know if the Del Mar City Council would allow for a casino, in their backyard. But you know, it's. I mean, at this point, you still have to get the Indian, like the Native Americans, like on side, and I just don't know if that's going to be easy. And then you've got DraftKings, who put that constitutional amendment, I think, on the ballot this last year too, that was trying to get people to vote for allowing sports betting over mobile and so forth, and the rates were really probably unreasonable, so it didn't pass. And I just don't. I don't know. I think California's in a tough spot, and maybe it's better that there isn't this proliferation of gambling like there is in other states, and maybe California is its own entity for some time. But on the horse side, I would hate to see California racing go. It would break my heart. But this is an industry where we can't. There's so many factions, and there's so many um, difficulties in marketing towards the game towards younger fans. I wanted to turn this conversation, given your awesome philosophical Aquarian mind. Tell me about what you could see helping attract like new fans to this game. And obviously, you're a player and you've mentored people. I know that. You helped that one dude do really well on, yeah, Eric, right?
Yeah. We got Eric Boyd who followed me. We have Matt McMillan who's leading the tour this year. I've helped out a little. We don't help out. I seem to get the people that are very advanced who just needs a little help in the mythical game and just a theory of how to win a mythical contest. And that's what I help out with. I just help them out thinking a little differently out of the box of how to win. You don't need to win often, but you need to win instead of finishing in the middle all the time. You have to finish on the bottom or on top. You can't keep on finishing in the middle to do anything.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's so. What do you got? Let's brainstorm for a little bit here. It's always fun to do this. Do you see? if you were to get to a 25-year-old or 30-year-old engineer coming out maybe 5 years in the workforce, loves to think, probably trades on Robinhood, is interested in gambling, isn't probably the most you know he's a pusher, he's a risk taker, he's somebody that wants to have the thrill of either telling his friends he won or wants to try to become a savant or a master. How do we get to these guys given the state of the product, given that it's really only a weekend game, given that the CAWs are slamming these prices at the end? Do you have any, like, I don't know, just initial thoughts on how we might be able to present this to this type of person?
Yeah, well, I was at the simulcast conference 15 years ago on a board with the great Don Johnson, who's a mathematician galore. And I gave when Keith Chamberlain asked me, why did you used to bet $5-6 million a year, and now you're down to 1 million? What has changed? And I said, well, contests have changed because you could put up, you don't have to go to the track, you don't have to do all those things to make a wager, deal with a teller that's cranky, you have to tip everybody or pay all the prices or get your card dinged or travel, or you could just play online. So what so and I told everybody then you have to consolidate, downsize. Why do we have a track here that holds 30, 40, 50,000 when only a few hundred come out? All this cost, insurance, employees. You just need a few kiosks to place some bets, have owners concierge, or run the races, and people with a video feed that could bet from anywhere. So what and just lower the costs, raise the purses, get the better horses, and consolidate to one festival track a weekend. That's the main uh, uh, focus of everybody. Again, I just for the people watching, I do have brain damage. I have 3 areas in my left lobe that are destroyed or not there much anymore. So I do tend to lock up a little.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and take your time, take your time. But
okay,
so if we
but
consolidate, if we
yeah, just
consolidate, yeah,
just like the English or the European. I mean, when you see like Royal Ascot running, you don't have 7 other tracks running at the same time, and that's the thing. If one weekend it was Del Mar of a huge festival, 2 weekends off, went to Santa Anita, and have all 12 horse fields, 9, 10, 12 races a day, that these people aren't like watering down the product during a week. Why are we running 4 or 5 tracks near each other in the Northeast every weekend at one of them for their Monmouth Day festival with all the best Jersey breds one day, like we had here yesterday, Cal Cup, all these stakes races that they run, and then you pack up, go to Saratoga one weekend, then you go somewhere. Same thing in Europe, and in this way you can run a 12 race card, 12 horses a race, and then run a super jackpot of guaranteed $1 million to a lone ticket every day or something like that, or $5 million to a lone ticket or something like that. Purses get up to 15-20 million dollars because those are the biggest days of the mandatory payout days, of course. Even when Gulfstream has a $3 million carryover, they get $10 million bet. So everybody would come out to become a millionaire. You can't come out now in a 6-horse field and you're happy to hit a $3 winner. Nobody's, even if you come out as a newbie and you hit 9 winners in a row and they're paying $3 to $4 each, so what? You can't win any money. I mean, you spend 200 on the day, and you have to hit 5 winners at even money to break even, betting $20. Just 5 in a row, you have to hit at $20 to cover your costs for the day right now. So you have to have just, that's why people bet on Breeders' Cup. There's long shots every race. The favorites are 2, 3, 4 to 1. That's why people bet the Derby, a chance to win a superfecta for $1 million. Where do you get these pools? So we need giant pools, everybody focusing on one day of racing, maybe one during the day, one during the night, maybe a commingled card, a Saratoga race 1 that commingles with Del Mar, like they used to do the 7 and 7 in Ohio, something cool like that, where the whole in the dirt. I was big on greyhound racing, and probably I finished 4th in the Greyhound NHC, if anybody heard of that. that was held at Daytona Beach Kennel Club the weekend before the NHC of that same year. I finished fourth, and I could have won, but the dogs from Omaha were strong that year. But they have a Greyhound Night of Stars that they ran one race at every track, starting at Wonderland, ending in the West Coast, either at Phoenix, Multnomah. One grade A race, stakes grade A race from each track made up the card. And that was the card. That was a Night of Stars card. Great. You could win. Pools were huge, thousands for Greyhound racing. So you could bet, and that's it. It brought out a single day, everybody together, but we have to do that. But who's going to, Stronach is not going to get together with Churchill, who's not going to get together with Colonial Downs, who's not going to get to do anything like that. I mean, you have to have just a day and night of stars, just incredible pools. Without incredible pools and the chance to win millions or tens of thousands at least, you're not going to get the young people out.
Yeah, that's how I got into it. Was great racing. It was at Del Mar when I was 15, 16, 17, just looking at the stars, 10 horse fields, Pacific Classic, turf racing, like multiple contenders. But I think what you're saying is that probably half the racetracks need to close, is basically what you're saying.
Well, not even close, just don't run all the time. Who needs a Gulfstream product right now? Who needs, it's good. Who needs these products where it rains every day? Or it's just, you're watering down the jockeys, you're watering down the horses. The horses don't run as much anymore. So you got to run, like you have a Saratoga festival one weekend, but then it doesn't have it the next weekend. So then they run a festival, say at Delaware, where they have their special races and their special, and then they have, and then you no racing for a week. People get the fever up. They save up their money. I mean, if you got the people playing parks on Monday, Tuesday, some other tracks on Wednesday, Thursday, they don't have no money for the weekend, or they can't go every day. Who can go every day? So people talk about the Derby all year. They talk about Saratoga all year, and they save up the money for it, so they don't go to the other tracks. So you have to have a festival in each area that people talk about all year going to, times say 20, 25 weekends a year, all around the country, that people talk about. I can't wait to get, like Kentucky Downs. Look at these fields, look at these purses, look at these everything, and they run 7 days, 5 days. On their little festival within a month's time, they spread them out. And we get same kind of thing could be everywhere if they just run every track like a Kentucky Downs. And that's what we need. We need a Kentucky Downs kind of meet at 5 different places, a little more consolidated, not spread out so much, over a Thursday for the local jockeys and stuff. Friday, Saturday, Sunday gets the better races, and hotels make out. Everybody makes out. Everybody comes there. Maybe they have a conference, an owner trainer, parties, poker, as you played in Kentucky, near the Derby and stuff, charity events, and everybody comes in like a conference that weekend. Boom, you get. If we could get 800 horse players at the NHC in a day, and everybody talks about it all year, is a fever built up. So we get these fevers built up of Saratoga Whitney Day, or this day, or Monmouth Haskell Day. They'll have their festival then, and they'll have a festival, Stephen F. Forster Day, when all these great horses. I mean, Churchill could, all these 5 great horses, 10 great horses go into that race. They'll put 20,000 in the stands, and if everybody's watching that race, and it's on TV, and everybody builds up that weekend and other races on that card, it becomes like a mini Breeders' Cup. Boom, huge race weekend. And that nobody gets excited over, a 6-5 horse race at Monmouth for 10 claimer non-winners or 2. It's good as an undercard heading into a gigantic event.
Yeah, you're stretching my mind to think about putting that into practice. What are you suggesting that out of let's say like a current racetrack meet, that they consolidate like all of their stakes races on like one weekend, and all the tracks across the country just try to literally have like their like 2 big days, and the rest is just mediocrity?
I mean, if there was, say, 8 to 10 tracks in a rotation with 3 or 4 weekends each throughout the year, every quarter, it's their weekend. Well, there you go. And they build up for it. They build up for it, and they get, instead of Friday here, there was 50 people. I mean, Saturday here. I mean, yeah, if it was Memorial Day weekend on a Saturday, it wasn't even crowded. Yeah, they're supposedly the big days here Monday, but there's just so many other options. So if you brought in handicapping contests those weekends at all different levels, your TV cameras, and you put a $500,000 handicapping contest at those days with a $5,000-$10,000 entry fee. You bring other parties and other things, and if everybody's there, all the hot trainers, all the hot horses, everybody's going to come out for it. And certain people go to one, certain people go to the other, and whichever one does the best will carry on year after year and grow. But I mean, if Colonial Downs had a great weekend in the summer, who's not going to go to Virginia, enjoy themselves, Williamsburg, in August or something like that? It'd be great and everybody would come down from Jersey to go there, or up from Florida. It's an easy drive. And North Carolina, South Carolina people, it would be a great Colonials Down weekend, high profit, because it's a consolidation of costs throughout a 2-month meet on 1 or 2 weekends. And it's just the cost and the labor costs to keep a place open when it's empty, and the insurance costs, and the costs are just so high now. It's just crazy to drag on these long meets, watered down meets right now. It's just the benefits. It's just crazy costs.
I mean, I used to think horse racing maybe 5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago, was a weekend game. Now I kind of think it's a once a week game, and I think they should be racing Saturdays only or Sundays only. And I
Nothing
can
wrong with
agree.
that. But if there's 20 tracks running Saturday and Sunday, then what? Everybody's going to the local track. Everybody's going here, and everybody's scattered all around. I mean, what would somebody rather do? I mean, go to Will Rogers Downs for the day and spend the day at Fauner? Great. Local track, they could run their fair and have their everything fine, a little meet. But I mean, if the guy wants to win money, or somebody wants to win money, they're not going to go to Will Rogers Downs unless you know the horses there personally. But I mean, if you had a national pool at these tracks running, that makes it easier to wager into a national jackpot of a $5 million guaranteed jackpot. If you pick all 10 winners for $1 or $2, people play lotto like that, and it's much easier to hit 12 races in a row than hit Powerball. So I mean, that's what they do in Sweden. They got that V20 or 40 or 60 or whatever. They get 12 million, 15 million in a pool. So if you get 15 million, 10 million in a pool, tracks takeouts 20%. I mean, hello, it's a nice, that one pool covers the whole weekend in costs.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to break down the customers into categories, and you have the average everyday fan that's going to go to the Derby or go to the big days, that's not really interested, is not a true, in my eyes, a true contributing gambler to the sport. And then you have the retail players, the middle class, and then you have the CAWs. I'm kind of at this point now where, hearing you say this, I do like the idea of consolidation, less racetracks, cut them in half. Let's just call it what it is, cut the losses. Some of these tracks need to close. Let's move the horses into locations where they're appreciated and cared for well, like Kentucky. I do think there's going to be these boutique meets, Oaklawn being another good one that is able to keep it all together. I think that I like the idea. Yeah,
I mean, look
yeah,
at Keeneland.
but Keeneland is.
Yeah, but the people come out at 10 a.m. They're tailgating. The whole town gets around it. And if you had a special meet, they could get around it. Nobody's going to get around a watered down product. Nobody's going to promote a watered down. Nobody.
So
It's very
shouldn't
hard to explain.
yeah, but shouldn't all the horses in California be in Keeneland? Shouldn't they be racing in Keeneland instead of?
Well, the farms in California are gorgeous. I mean, if you go up to Rancho San Miguel or some of my farms, people, I use like Angie up Equine. Uh, it's just Eclipse Equine. These places are gorgeous. They love the farms, and there's nothing wrong with California racing. I wish the fair circuit was still up. They used to do great. Run a fair every weekend. They used to pack the house and run some great horses, and that town was proud of their fair, the Santa Rosa Fair. Everybody, and they would get all these people to come in those weekends for the fair, and that nothing wrong with that. And that's what I mean. They have little boutique meets at each of their fairs, and they did that. Now that's what hurt it. A lot of these horses can't race without those fairs because that's where they made money on the lower side.
Mhm.
And there's no cheap rate. Santa Anita was going to run races for the all the Golden Gate horses and stuff, and they did for a little while, but that ended. They have no more restricted claiming races. They have no more, so if you can't keep it costs 3,000 to 4,000 a month to keep a horse in training. So if you can't earn the purses, you can't race. That's the bottom line. Now, without
Yeah.
slot machines here, you're not going to raise the purses. I mean, they have grade 3 stakes here for $100,000. It's ridiculous. An allowance in Kentucky is 120.
Yeah, I think it comes back down fundamentally to the fact the game is not growing. There's no new customers that are coming in that are serious, and can they actually win? Like I was talking yesterday about the what does the profile look like for a player that is winning, making 10% if they could do that on the horses. Who are they betting on? How much capital does it require for them to earn a 10% profit? Because when I
But
posted some stuff in terms of the bets, like how would you consider a good bet versus a great bet? There are no more 3-to-1s and 4-to-1 shots that are left in the game that normal players can come in, handicap, and go, oh, I'm smart. I can actually bet on a horse that has lone speed or has this basic angle. Like all of that's gone. So the average player, if they're going to make money, are going to be betting, probably 10-to-1 shots and above, and they're going to be very picky, and they're going to be, winning such a low percentage of the time that no new player can come in. So like I ask you, like who who could make money right now coming into horse racing and do it well and actually understand the game in less than a year and make money at this. You know what I mean?
well, that's not the key. It's just getting people. I mean, do people go to the Kentucky Derby thinking, hey, I'm going to go gamble today and make money? No, they pack the house because of the event. If
Mhm.
people go and throw 20, 40, 50, 100 around each race, people just bet horses with names and win. So it's more, we need to turn this into an event. Friday at Del Mar is packed. Why? Because they have a concert after, social
No, they
event,
canceled the
standing room
concerts,
only.
brother. They canceled the concerts. They're
Well,
no
I haven't
longer.
been there. Well, again, I
Sad.
haven't been there in. I only go for the contest twice a weekend, so I don't. Never been to one of the contests since that gun went off, especially right near me. But
Uh,
Keeneland, they turn that into an event. They don't. Do you think the people of Keeneland come out to win money? No, they come out to wear their dress, see their friends. They have college day. They have this. It's a social event. So, but it's not a social event if you could do it every single day or every weekend. Then it's like, which weekend do I go? Is Jimmy going to be there this weekend? No. If Keenan only runs 6 weeks at a time, and it's a social event, and I mean the whole town goes there. But here, I was speaking to Tom Quigley yesterday. The water truck's going by. Sorry,
oh, it's okay. It's not too
overhanging.
bad. It's not too bad for us.
Okay, well, I'm overhanging the track here. The you probably see it in my glasses. But he said, nobody's here, but the handle was great the other day. So most people aren't going to the tracks; they're betting online. So if you make this
Yes.
gigantic race card of even 10 races somewhere on the East Coast, and then it turns into a connected card 10 races after West Coast with a 20 race card with all these pick threes for a pick 20 that pays $20 million, whatever. You make it a national day of every weekend or every month, once a month, this gigantic day that everybody saves up their money for and bets online is going to be most. When I go to the track, do I run to the teller? No, to mess up my tickets, to tell me to speak slower, call my bets out slower, to make mistakes. I usually use my machine, which are right behind me, as you can probably see, or I bet on my phone anyway or my computer while I'm at the track because I'm getting rebates. So we don't need all this infrastructure around the tracks. That was my suggestion 15 years ago, was cut the course. We could run Santa Anita here without this gigantic building. We can make it more of a fair, fun place without this gigantic empty building, which is gorgeous as you walk around this morning, especially when I walk one end to the other. I was the only person in the place. But you just cut the course. We have just cut the course, make everything nimble, fast. People are scared to make decisions as executives, take risks because they're scared of losing their jobs. They're just happy with keeping their jobs and going along the string. We need to have executives that make dramatic decisions for the betterment of racing and the customers to have fun. If people have fun, they will come out. They'll lose $100 each to have a great night out or a great day out. They do at Keeneland, they do at Del Mar, they do it, in the summer meet, not the winter meet. But we're just taking away the fun. We're doing it as a grind. We have a bunch of 4, 5, 6 horse races today at Santa Anita, and you can't win money. I mean, that's the problem. If you're going to come out and bet long shots to try to win money, they're not there. And like you said, we need 12 horse fields. And here, if you don't run every day at the same track, like today, I think every race, every horse is running against each other last race. How fun is this to handicap? Yeah. So what? Now, if you had everybody shipping into Colonial Downs one weekend from Delaware, from Monmouth's festival, who took off one of the festivals and skipped Monmouth and Delaware festivals, coming straight from Saratoga to Colonial. You have all these new horses running in against new horses in new conditions at new distances on a new surface with new jockeys on a whole different track at a different time zone, a different weather condition. Now, the more variables you bring in, that brings in the handicapping. If you're running the same 7 horses on 7 furlongs instead of 6 against each other with the same jockey, that you bring so much surprise in the game that the CAWs couldn't maybe log into or latch onto a heavy favorite that way because the conditions, the odds are constant. The odds are always the same. 12 horse race, you have a 12 to 1 chance to win, 1 out of 12 to win. That are the odds. But what's the probability in life changes every single second. The horse comes on the track, he's a little heat. Well, now his probability of winning just went up. To higher, a lower probability of winning, higher odds. He's changing to a worse jockey. Well, now his probability went even lower of winning. It's not his best surface. So a handicapper could change the probability of things with more variables.
But that's why some people some people do like synthetic. Some people like synthetic for that reason.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to have all these horses running at different tracks, different places. On the weekend, you have 12 horse fields. Then you could try to say, oh, you know what? This horse got jacked last time at the shoot at Ellis, and now he's coming here. He'll be able to get to the lone lead. And then if the horse had the lead on these, like today in the first race, if a horse beat the other 5 horses to the lead this time, unless there's a jockey change of tactics, he's going to be in the lead again. Ho-hum, have fun. Is he going to make it or not? Gee. There's no more. The whole nuance of a skilled handicapper has gone to the wayside of almost to a sure bet. And that's why the computer wagering could run the percentages so well in their computers, to the fact that the variables in the races are not changing enough to put them on their toes.
So let's go that direction, and we'll come back and recap some of your ideas.
Not an earthquake. I just hit the table. Sorry.
That's right. You're in California. Earthquakes are allowed.
Well, that's why I was saying I just hit the table. No earthquakes, sir. Just making sure.
Well, hopefully there'll be an earthquake in the pick six if you can find that 120 to 1 shot that will not be there today.
Yeah. Good luck. We have a
Uh,
3 to 5 morning line shot, a 4 to 5, and a 6 to 5 morning line in 5 or 6 horse races in the pick six. I mean, I think the longest. I feel the longest shot today at Santa Anita, maybe 3 to 1.
yeah, I can't. I I rarely bet Santa Anita now. It's just it hurts, man. It keeps me up at night. But let me ask you, because you are the alternative thinker, what what are we going to do about the CAWs? The middle class is gone, is eroding, is evaporating. They're getting their lunch stolen, taken, beaten up by bullies, not because they're bad people, not because they're not working hard. The prices are gone. The um, the onslaught of volume coming from the sharpest CAWs now, and all the CAWs that chase the big three and just try to leech, and betting at the last second, seeing the odds come down. Do you have any ideas of a way to stop this before all the horse players walk away? Because I'm seeing every day people telling me, I'm gone, I'm done, I'm over it. And these are good people and good players. And I'm just curious, do you believe in something like we talked about yesterday, which was one idea was a rebate that will be 10% or 8% if you bet before 15 minutes to post, and then no rebate after 2 minutes to post. And then another one I even brought up was a flat rebate across the board if somebody like Portnoy were to market the game for the win pool only. So I think at this point we need to start building a think tank around how to address this issue. It's a very, very, very strange business that we're in, where the best customers that have built this game have been overtaken by the sharpest of the sharps, and they're not getting treated um, fairly, because a CAW can bet a 3 to 1 shot if it goes off at 2 to 1, and a normal player can't bet a 2 to 1 shot anymore. So what would you? I don't know. Just riff with me a little bit here. What do you see as alternatives, given that these guys are just hemorrhaging the game?
Well, for disclosure, I bet and get rebates myself, very high
Mhm.
rebates.
Yeah.
Every person could be their own CAW. I have friends that do bet $5,000, $10,000 a race to win.
Mhm.
And I used to be a pretty big player when I was working. Uh, one one of the bigger players around in my 20s and 30s, and it's not you're allowed to do that. I mean, it's everybody's yelling CAWs, but it's could be my buddy who likes a horse. It's much easier now, like I have stated, with less variables. You think a guy's going to bet 10,000 to win on a horse if all 10 are coming from different tracks at different distances to a new track? No, it's they do it because the word is out at the track they're in. Now they're allowed to bet. There's no law against a group of people betting, and anybody can do it. If you say you can't do the same as them, you're wrong. You can log in 30 seconds to post and place any bet at any time. So the problem is the people who pick the winners think they're the only people also that came up with this horse. Oh, he was lone speed. I knew it. And look, they killed him. Yeah. Well, because he was lone speed, and these people are betting a lot of money into smaller pools, and the races aren't that hard anymore. And they get rebates. So even if they lose or break even, if they spread, they get their 10, 15% back next race, like I do, next day, cash in the morning. And so if I bet 500 in a race, I'm actually only risking 425 or something like that. And if I bet $500 worth of pick six tickets, it's only costing me 425. So I could bet an extra $7,500 more than the next person for free. It's like free chances. So how to stop it? I'm for open markets. I'm for you have to let the people bet up to the last second because if a horse comes on the track and is sweating and stuff, I should be allowed to have fair. Everybody should be able to have fair chances at winning, which is looking at the horses, looking how they work out. Some places don't like to. Some people don't like to place the bets until they enter the gate to make sure the horse goes in smoothly, or the horses don't have problems. If I'm going to bet $10,000 on a horse to win, I would like to see him go in the gate smoothly. Then place the bet. Have my bet loaded, hit click, done. So, what's the way of doing it is more variation in races to create higher odds and lower probability for all horses to win. That is the way to make racing great. It's just put a 12 horse race, like I said, out there with horses coming from all over the place and change up the posts all the time and stuff. That would do it. Nobody's going to have confidence in betting. They will have to truly spread 4, 5, 6 deep and that break even and get their rebates. But now they don't have to. If they can only go 2 deep, they'll bet 40. Like the races, like 3 winners in a row had 20, 30,000 across the board put on them late yesterday, and they don't have to risk if there's only 1 or 2 horses that can win the race. But if you put 6 horses that can win the race in a 12 horse race, you see the CAWs go away very easily. Now there's also betting syndicates that have inside information, and they also knock the prices down. Not always the CAWs that spread a lot, but the singular bet downs are sometimes by just a sharp betting syndicate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree the product is so bad that the game is a lot harder to make money if you're an average middle class retail bettor. And I do think that the CAWs with the capital they have can smash heavy favorites and get that 5 to 10% rebate depending on what pool they're in. But they are just so you know, they are betting 50 to 200 bets in the last 5 seconds with their spreadsheets through, and they're smashing the exactas, and they're taking advantage of this last second information of looking. It's becoming robot wars. It's becoming hedge funds against hedge funds against hedge funds.
And if you have millions of dollars, I mean, if you had $100 million and you were playing horses, you would do the same. You would take that money to your advantage, just like the stock market, just like bond market, like calls and puts. You put your money to where you would advantage, and you would load up your bets for the race with 15 minutes to post. And if everything goes smooth on the track and they load in the gate well, you hit the one button. I could do that in the first race right now myself.
Okay.
You don't need a CAW for that.
Okay, so let me paint a apocalyptic picture for you. If handle drops another billion this year, or 2 billion, at what point, when the middle class says, I'm over horse racing, I'm getting taxed 3 times as much as a football game, and I'm winning 3 times as less, at what point does the industry, I'm not saying you personally, at what point does the industry finally elect to say, all right, what are we going to do? Is it just going to be robot wars and the frou-frou fans that come through on Derby Day, and it's just going to be the minnows and the sharks, and everybody in the middle is gone? Are you prepared for that coming in the next year or two if the billions of handles drop again? Or are you open to challenging the CAWs and saying, hey guys, you've made at least 10 to 20 million a year off of our game, off of our customers. Why don't we try to play a fair level playing field so that when you bet a 3-to-1 shot and I bet a 3-to-1 shot, we're both getting 3-to-1 and someone's not getting 4-to-1 because of the rebate. So I'm trying to challenge you. At what point does the industry do anything, or is the game just going to fall apart in the next 5 years?
Well, the rebate does not affect the pool. The rebate adds money to the pool, because the more rebate you give somebody, it incentivizes them to bet more.
Yeah,
so if I get more comps in the casino, I'm going to bet more to get more comps.
But the difference is it's pari-mutuel wagering, and even
though the winner is the problem, they're picking winners because they're smart handicappers and they have computer algorithms, and they pay for information that we don't pay for. So you could follow them, you could become a better handicapper, You could look at the will pays. You could join them instead of beat them to make money. Again, the way to beat them is to put a confusing race out there and a product that is hard. Now, again, the money that they get as a rebate doesn't take anything out of the pools from the middle class people. The pools are the same. They just pick winners. So when they have the horse, you notice it's only the people that complain when the price goes down because they finally picked the winner. That instead of 7-2, it goes off 2-1. But let me get this straight: the horse is probably 2-1, should have been 2-1 anyway. Just the public is so weak with picking and betting that horse doesn't open 2-1. So because they're betting names, numbers, they're betting that the early money is not usually, now unless it's smart money, you could tell, but the public is not the smart money. Just like football games, just like any other thing, there's sharp and there's not sharp money. So the sharp money comes in late here, and because it's bet up by the sucker public or the bad public, and it gets bet down, and you had the winner. Well, guess what? You had the winner, but you're not the only one who figured it out. If you were good enough to pick the winner, the geniuses and the CAWs who do it every single day at every different track around the world, who have computer engineer, like crazy smart people, like a Tony Zhu, like other people you have on here, who are geniuses in the probability fields, like I am not. You're not the only. I mean, if you sitting in your apartment picked the winner, like me, most of the time laying in bed watching the races, if I was good enough to pick the winner, the CAWs have it. They're going to bet it down because the pools are light. There's not that many horses in a race, so their money has become a bigger percentage of the money. This has been going on since racing has started. Okay, yes. The dog races, I used to be that person because when I used to go to Derby Lane, there's not much money bet in a dog race, and I used to put a lot in a race, and I could control some of it. You couldn't bet win, place, and show. Of course, there's not much money in the pools. Same thing at Highlight and all that stuff. But it's been going on anytime there's a big enough pool. We just got to raise the pools and raise. If we worked on raising the quality of races, consolidating minimum 10, 12 horse fields, you won't see the bet down as much.
Yeah, I think one of the things that needs to be addressed is the landscape. 98% of players lose, and that's not going to change ever.
Well, here's the deal. A slot machine has less takeout than the track. Everybody says, what do you play slots? We'll say that machine is 88% return. Hello, 12% takeout. Guess what? We brag 15% takeout in this sport. I'm playing a slot machine that's 12% takeout. And so I have a better chance, especially if I could add a little edge. So right away, even if you could, but again, when you're dealing with $50,000 bets, $100,000 bets from the computer people, if they bet it down to 3 to 5, 60% return on their money in 2 minutes is much better than they get in the stock market. So they choose where their money goes. They could go stock market, futures, anything, metals, commodities. If you have $1 billion, you could choose where you invest your money. If they could pick a 2 to 5 shot and get 40% back in a minute and 10, that's a bit better return than they get anywhere else. So yeah, but for you to say how could they bet on a 3 to 5 shot, it's 60% return if it's a sure thing.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as a sure thing. But I think we have to add. I have to describe like some things to me when I have this conversation. 98% of players lose. Could be 99.
Yes,
easily. There's a lot of people that have lost over the years. There's a lot of people that think they're a lot better at horse racing than they are. There's a lot of people that have good years and bad years, but if you looked at the long run, they're not profitable. There's a lot of people,
and breakage.
All of it. So that is the number one core pillar. It's the core pillar to the whole conversation.
Because the dollars get rechurned, and as they're churned, that same dollar is taken out. You rebet it, it's take out again. Take out. Yes. Look at a poker game. Yes. 8 people sit down with $1,000 in a regular cash game. Yeah. If there's no new money, and everybody wins 1 out of 8 hands for the same amount, eventually everybody will go broke in a few hours from the rake.
Yeah.
So that's the same
Is-
thing in exact same thing in horse racing, exact same thing in anything. Eventually, the rake, as it goes around the table, everybody says, oh, "I'm not paying it. I'm not in the blinds. I'm not paying." Sure, you are,
yeah.
because as it goes around, and once that blind hits you, you're playing 1/8 of every. And I tell the person, you just paid $2.25 per hand sitting there.
Yes.
That's the rate. And I just tell them that, and they go, look at me. No, but yes, I no, but I've been folding. No, you've been paying $2, $3 a hand that you've been sitting there. You've played 2 hours. You spent $200 on table fees, and that's why you're down. Guess what? How much you down? $200. They tell me. Well, there you go. And like I said, if there's no new money in the game, and we got to work on getting new money in the game, and there's ways of doing it, but there has to be consolidation agreements. I mean, look, on horse 20s and different contest sites, you can't. I can't. They don't allow Churchill or other races. Oaklawn Park does not let their races be used on horse 20s or tournament sites.
Mm.
Now, I only have limited time. I'm spending my 30 minutes, say, to look over the 10 race card for horse 20s feature races that day. If I like something, I'll bet it. But I don't have the time to bet. I have never bet on a race at Fairgrounds, which used to be my favorite track when I lived in New Orleans. I've never bet a race at Oaklawn Park in 5 to 10 years because they're not in the contests.
In the
If
contest,
they
yeah.
if I handicap the feature races, and they had 3 or 4 races from Oaklawn, and I got my eyeballs on Oaklawn, and if I like somebody in one of those races, I may look at the card, connect that horse I like, and pick threes, pick fours, may bet 200-300 across the board, whatever it is. I'm looking at their product and betting it. Oaklawn doesn't allow their races in the contest for me to look at. I haven't bet a race. They probably lost $1 million in handle just for me in the last 5 years, just me alone at Oaklawn at
Well, this is
Fairgrounds, because I don't
this
bet it.
this is cool to talk about because most people view tournament sites as maybe taking away from the normal pools, but in this climate, I don't think executives understand there are so few bets that are available right now. So few because of AI, because of CAWs, because of just the small fields. Like you said, all these horses come out of the exact same races again. It's very predictable, so there's no value. But the idea that you bring up, which is using the contests as a marketing vehicle to find one of those, because like I'll look at 100 races or maybe 50 races a weekend and bet 3 of them, right? Something like
Right,
that.
exactly.
So if you don't have a vested interest in a contest, you're not even going to know and take the time to look at that. So these are these are very interesting things to talk about. I do like how you're making a big claim that
Well,
you
everybody fights for their own dollar in a protectionary way. The executives don't want to. I mean, what would it hurt Oaklawn or Fairgrounds or Twin Spires to give their races to everybody? Uses the races. It's public knowledge anyway.
yeah.
Anybody, they post it in the newspaper, they post it online, they give away the knowledge.
No,
So
no,
why
it's
are they stopping?
you know why they have a Twin Spires tournament site and they want to try to double
But
dip.
even when they didn't, they didn't. Oaklawn doesn't run contests, so they ran one, and it got canceled, and they didn't go. And was it a weather? And it was only on site anyway. And so, why doesn't Oaklawn? Why doesn't certain Woodbine now and other tracks to block their results from going out? The only thing you could do is create fever for that races again. Now, if I'm alive to a horse in the last race in the contest, I'm going to win $10,000 on, say, the BCBC entry or the cash
Yeah.
tournament. I could hedge by betting cash on what my competitor has in the pick and pray at that track. So I might bet. I mean, if it's an Oaklawn race, I might bet 500 to win on what my competitor has that pays 10,000 or something like that. They're only losing business by not.
Yes.
And again, I have not bet a race at any track that wasn't in a contest in 10 to 15 years.
I think
Not one.
that's a big statement. I would say that the contests are a really nice way for people to come into this game, and so hopefully the industry, you see Twin Spires doing this now. But even in the contest world, there's a lot of discomfort in terms of the way the rules are written and the prize money. It still blows my mind how much um, they give for first prize, for some of these contests that are cash. I think that, if you start doing the math, you can start looking pretty quickly to decide that it's only for a certain select group of players.
Yeah, but Lone Star has their like they have a great tournaments this weekend. There's no takeout.
Yeah,
There's no entry fee. They're only
yeah,
giving away NHC seats and prizes. Nothing wrong with that.
it's
At
awesome.
Santa Anita, it's a $200 entry fee, $300 live money you get to play with. All of the $200 that you put in, nothing goes to the track. It all goes towards prizes. So it's 100% payback, and you have fun and you throw your money around. Hope you get lucky. But and online, it's only you can bet on, you can play a $10 contest, $20 contest, and you pick your numbers, two win in place, and enjoy yourself. You can't do bad. But again, you're not going to get new players in to Oak Lawn. You're not going to. I mean, Kentucky Downs, I can play contests and I wager my buns off there. Keeneland, play contests, I can wager my buns off there. You can't do it at Churchill. I can only do that on Twin Spires. So I can't play horse tourneys and because it's hard to play contests and cash at the same time because what you play in a contest is not your cash play. I'm not going to take the 2-to-1 in a contest. I'll take the 20-to-1. But if I'm betting both of them. I'm wheeling my 2-to-1 on top of my 20. I'm betting, and I'm seeing what the other players pick. I'm using those horses of the respected handy. But again, Churchill, one of my favorite tracks. Great Travis Stone race call and all that stuff. Don't I have no, nope, can't bet it. So I mean, it's just everybody has to get together and just for the betterment of the racing and it's just when everybody's money hungry because the dollars are so tight and the taxes are so high and the restrictions are so high. It's just and the regulation is just cutting them down. It's very hard for everybody to get together, fighting for the very hard to get dollar.
Well,
But we need
let's summarize some of this. So, um, let's just go chronologically backwards. So,
I'm sorry,
tournaments are good. Tournaments are good. That is awesome to know that that can help lead
and
to
growing,
and
and they're
growing and
growing because they have 700 people, 600 to 700 people playing
yeah,
on Fridays for no money. They're not even
yeah,
playing for money. They're playing for a seat into the NHC. Out of the
yeah,
700 people, 3 people will get a seat, and there's 700, 600 people playing for just a seat to the NHC. That's how great contests are, and that's how fever pitch they want to get to the NHC. So if everybody on a weekend ran a gigantic race card and an NHC contest with 10 seats, they'd pack the house and be fun.
yeah. I like that. So, um, that's a huge statement that the horse players love to compete and they like to have an opportunity to be on a big stage. So that's one thing. I I do
BCBC.
I do disagree with you on the rebate um, impact because even though the odds are not dropping in the pools, you are seeing the person who thinks that they're going to get, you know, the the shirt for $20, at a discount or at a normal price, having to pay 25 or $30 for it now. And what that's doing is they're just not they're not able to make ends meet anymore. They're losing too much money. They're losing half their
Well,
money, 30 to 50%, because those odds are not there. So even though the rebate guys aren't seeing it in the pools at that exact moment, they get the check on Monday and they get the rebate back. So effectively you are eliminating the
not on
average,
Monday, it's next day.
or next day, whatever. So my point is, whether it's in the pools in real time or after, the players are not playing the same game because
Okay.
they're not getting 2-to-1.
No.
You know,
You're
they're
you're 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 allowed to be wrong because a winning bet's a winning bet, rebate or not. The only reason people put money in the pools a lot, half, I would say half to 2/3 of that money is rebate money from me and other players on our sites, on these ADWs or the CAWs, which are basically just gigantic fast betting ADWs that give rebates, and they get rebates. You know, all the people in my ADW, all our money goes in, gets high rebates. I mean, we
Yeah.
probably bet more through my ADW than a cow. You know, so that's uh, fair. But when I go to a casino because I played X amount of dollars, I get a free steak dinner. Is that not fair? That's a rebate. So I get
Yeah.
I
So
bet 10,000 at blackjack and I get $1,000 dinner, or I get to
yeah,
take my friends out for $3.
yeah, but the point is this: if in Vegas, if nobody was going to casinos anymore because they weren't getting,
But they have a
stick,
great time. They are, but
I'm
that's
saying,
not a variable.
no, but you have to try on the scenario that if there was only, if the casinos shut down, if half of the casinos had to go out of business, and they weren't giving steak dinners to horse players, they were giving like spam little meals that have like some nice pieces of fruit on them to give them something, or
Pineapple?
pineapple, whatever. My
Yeah,
point is,
pineapple.
my whole thing is like, at the end of the day, these players are not playing the same game because
Yeah,
they don't.
because no, but a lady just walks into Palace Station, puts $20 in for $1.88, just hit for 122,000. So that's also the reason that people go to the casinos. You can't do that at the track these days.
I know
And that's
that,
why you
but
need these super pools, and that's why you have to attract these people in with gigantic cards, gigantic pools,
yes, yes,
gigantic ways
yes.
of winning. And you'll get nobody's going to come into the track with $20 if it's going to cost them 150 for the day. I mean, it's $10 admission today to get in the door. It's
Yeah.
crazy. ten
But
dollars
what?
through but that $10 can be bet three times through the
Yeah.
pools, and if somebody wins, that $50 can be bet in, and to make them more in the pools at 20-25% takeout than admission, but they still charge admission, and you lose people because of that, because they won't just come with 30 if they pay $10 for admission and parking, and then $7 a beer and $20 a hot dog. It gets crazy. But the
Well,
casino rebates I live on, and me and my wife, we retire on our rebates, and we love them. It's the same thing with casinos. Same thing on a credit card. Should I not be able to get 2% cash back if the guy next to me only gets 1% cash back? No, it's
well,
you work hard in life and you get more for your money.
I don't disagree that this is a free market, but I want to say that, if you live in a small town and your friends own the gas station and the mom and pop shop and the haircuts and the restaurants, and you decide to want to focus on price alone, then Walmart and Target are going to take over your small town, and everyone's going to be out of business. So they're all leaving. So your little community is no longer the beachside community that had the breakfast place for the acai bowls, if you're like me, or you had the cool little, dive bar that no one's really, spending a bunch of money at, but they're just floating to keep you, that one late night spot that you want to
Well,
go.
then if it's not kept, then it's not worth keeping. Anything there is worth keeping. If it's not good, it will fade. If
Okay.
your mom pop was great, people would still go. Believe me. Or you have to, if I was a beeper salesman in the late '80s, I would have to change jobs. Or if I sold, uh, horse drawn wagons before the car was built, time to change jobs. You have to move. So if mom pop had all that experience of running a mom pop, he should be hired as the manager of the Walmart, making $120,000 and health care for his family, making more than he did as his mom pop, and more security and a future for him. So yes, his mom pop gave him experience to move up in life, became the manager of Walmart. Should be the progression.
Yeah, so what you're saying is kind of what we talked about, which is half the track should close. The
Correct.
product needs to be
Or half the
limited.
racing days should be eliminated at the
Fair,
same tracks.
fair. So that's going to happen, I think, regardless. Whether it happens in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, market forces are going to drive customers to better games, less taxes, and they're winning more playing poker or slots or sports betting. So they're gone in the next 5 years. So the question
Okay.
is, how many of those hundreds of thousands of retail players or tens of thousands of serious kind of upper middle class players, how many of them are going to walk away tomorrow or in a year or in 2 years when it comes to these rebates? And is there a way to
But
curb the bleeding and stop it slower and say, all right, guys, you guys are no longer going to get your 8 to 10% in the win pool rebates. We're going to cap you at a certain number,
can't
and we're
cap.
going to say for just the win pool, so that we can bring in new customers and we can show people that the odds will not drop and that there might
No.
be a chance to win at this game because you're playing at a level playing field. I'm just curious if you're saying no to that, that's fine. But I'm saying be prepared for Handle to drop another 1 to 2 billion in the
How
next two
about
years.
teaching those people, the young people, how they could become one of those people to get 8, 10, 12% win back, and then show them how to build up to that level and how you could do that through racing. That's how you build up. You don't tell them, you don't demonize the people doing well. You show them
Right.
how to become those people doing well. Why does Saratoga packed every weekend? Because people go there and win differently than they win at Santa Anita or they win at Gulfstream? No, they lose just as much as Saratoga, if not more. I mean, $12 lemonades only go so far. It's because it's an event, it's a party atmosphere around there. I mean, to me, I've won contests probably $300,000 to $400,000 worth of prize money I've won in contests at Saratoga. It's my least favorite track by tenfold. Naira, incompetence, the humidity, the prices, the people bringing in fried chicken and beer, running around with their kids, bothering you, the bathrooms that you have to pee in a trough. It is a horrible place to me. I don't like the atmosphere. I don't like anything about it to me. People love it. And I go up there and I enjoy my friends when I go there, and I enjoy the races once I'm there. But I have to wipe myself off with 2 towels, change my underwear between the 4th and 5th, and my socks are soaked. Kids are running around. Yeah, it just, I mean, they still have old Curves TV somewhere up in these towers. So, if you could do anything wrong, people scream at you, you're not in the right place. I go, not in the right place. I mean, it's a racetrack. What do you mean not in the right place? And there's lines but yet it's packed. So it's not because of winning or losing. It's because the event, the happening, the want to be seen there, the wanting to rent a place for $20,000 a month so you can say I went to Saratoga, or rent, it's just and that has to be used. And Del Mar, Summer Meet, and Kentucky Downs, and Keeneland, and all these boutique meets has to be used as a blueprint, as pack the house, have everybody enjoy themselves, bands, giveaways, big contests, big parties afterwards run by these places. That's what's great about Keeneland. You go to all the farms, you go to all these parties run by the stables and stuff, and the owners. That's what has to be done to create a feel at the races. But don't you can't uh, uh, badmouth, or you can't. I can't think of the word now. You can't blackball success. If there's somebody doing great at the races, picking winners, you have to show the people how they could be successful at the races,
Yeah,
not the other way around.
yeah, but I'm gonna continue to challenge the idea that when you're getting a 5 to 10 to 12% rebate,
I get
you're
15% on some bets.
I know that. I'm saying when you're talking more about the win pool, and I'm saying if you're getting 3 to 1 and I'm getting
But if
2 to 1,
if they don't pick the winner,
hold
all
on.
that I'm getting 12-1 instead of 8-1. If they
Let's
don't pick the winner,
let's talk about good players right now. Let's talk about good players. We're not talking about your grandma's cousin's sister's friend. We're talking about good players, the 10,000 good players that might be existing still in this day. I don't even know if it's that high. My point is, number one, 99% of them lose. Okay.
but
But
if they have a
1%,
great time, it doesn't matter.
Okay, but I'm talking about profitability right now because or losing slowly, losing slower, right? So my whole thing is if if we don't address the fact that these tens of thousands of players who are getting 2 to 1 when the CAWs are getting 3 to 1 on
But they're not. They're
every
getting 2 to 1, and they're getting 10% of the 2 to 1, which is
which is 3 to 1.
0.20.
No,
No,
well, okay. I'm using an example. If a horse was 2 to 1 at 33%, and you're going to give him a 10% rebate,
or
that's a
3.3
that's three
extra.
point three. Fine. So
Yes.
that's a bit extreme. Okay, fine. So let's look at 5 to 2 to
They're
three to
getting
one.
two. They're getting like 2.4 to 1 instead of 2, or 2.2 to 1. So what? After rebate,
Actually,
though, it doesn't take away from the guy getting 2 to 1. The
no,
guy who's
no,
getting 2 to 1 still gets 2 to 1. They both get 2 to 1. They, after the fact, get more. They have no money comes out of the pools. The track
I,
pays them out of
I
their profit on the race.
I understand that. That's what I'm saying. Is at the end of the day, they're still making, and again, if they're getting an 8% rebate and someone's paying twice as much in tax, it doesn't matter if it's in the pools or not.
No,
Their
the track
their
makes
bottom.
25%. So out of the 25% the track takes out from everybody, they give these people back, say, half, 12.5%, or 13% for their action. Instead, they bet it at
Okay,
another track or another
fine.
track. The
I don't
win
disagree.
gives me the win will give me 3 days a night, 3 days free nights, and 500 in food. Cosmo gives me a nicer room and 400 food. I have to choose who's going to get my action.
Yeah, I
So
understand that.
that's the thing. So they bid for the action. It does not come out of the middle person's pocket. They both
What?
get 2 to 1, and the track, instead of 25%, pays 13%, which hurts their bottom line on the track. Don't get me
Yes,
wrong,
yes.
but that doesn't matter to the middleman. He still can go to the track and have a good time, and still could wager. People have falsified and demonized these CAWs when it's the track giving up their profits to get the action into
Hmm.
the pools for the middlemen to win. The problem is the CAWs pick winners now
Hmm.
because the races are easy. But it does not, when they bet a horse down from 3 to 1 to 6 to 5, it's because the race is easy and they could double their money in a minute 13. It does not take money out of the middleman's pockets, who then, now when the CAWs are wrong, like the other day my horse went from 6 to 1 to 8 to 1 and won, or 9 to 1 and won. They're wrong 10-20% of the time. You, as an investor into a race, need to pick the race that's hard enough for them to be wrong. So
I agree
stay
with
out of
that.
the races where you have a two. If there's only two, like yesterday's last race at Santa Anita, there was two horses, a 5 and the 11. There was the only two getting bet. I love the 5. The trifecta with a 60 to 1 shot third only paid $120. I mean,
Okay,
that's why,
I
because
I
they hammered
I
it. But you
I,
have to
I
make the races harder.
okay. Here's the thing: we agree on the races being consolidated. We agree on better races. We agree on the idea that don't demonize the smart. We also agree that the game is failing. That Santa Anita is gone in a couple of years. We agree that the
I don't think Santa Anita's gone, but they need to
okay
make drastic changes.
changes. My whole thing is whether you want to look at the internal economics or not. When you go to the track and you make a bet as an average upper middle class bettor, maybe you're betting 10 grand a month, 5 grand a month, whatever, which is still significantly lower in risk, right? 15% of that would be risk, if or 30% based on the current loss rates. So
Correct.
my thing is those players, when they go to the track at the end of a month, at the end of 6 months, at the end of a year, those perks that the rebate shop guys are getting are crippling and siphoning all of their break even type money out of their budgets. They're going broke. So what I'm saying to you
I
is
have no idea where you see. That's where we disagree. The prices are the prices. Just because they're getting less, if they're going to get even money instead of 2 to 1, they need to, instead of bet 20, all they have to do is bet 40, and they now win the same profit.
fine.
So they can
But
still pick winners.
but you and I are super smart and hardworking players. You know that the majority of these tens of thousands of guys are not going to put in the time and the effort, and they're going to get eaten alive. And so that's fine. We can let the sharks and the ecosystem just go on with no controls, no guardrails, nothing. And that's basically what's been going on. And here we are. And so my point is, do you want 2 Walmarts, 2 Targets, and like, I don't know, a Neiman Marcus, because you're an older
Costco.
guy, like Costco? Do you want that on your block?
I've never been in a Neiman Marcus.
Okay, I don't think I have either. It just came to me. But or Macy's. But my point is, if you're gonna have and support no controls, then just be prepared that even in your contests,
the weak will fade away, and that's how it should be.
Yeah. So that's, again, I respect the fact that you understand what you're saying. So the question becomes, does the middle class just leave in the next year and they're gone for good and they never come back, and the sport just says, you know what, we're going to consolidate tracks, we're going to accept that it's just the robot wars and the fans that come in on the big days, and that's it, and the product sucks, and horse racing is just going to keep the few executives alive on their remaining salaries before they go on, and they're going to live their life and said they gave it their all and they couldn't solve the problem? Is that the way? Or is there a way to innovate and try something and experiment? Because I truly believe, Brett, that if you capped rebates, I don't think these guys are going away. I don't think after investing they're still going to stay in this game.
They could buy a bond to make 5%. They could go and play do arbitrage and make 10-15%. So you have to pay them if you want their money in the pools, which then supplies the purses for the horses to run. So you can't get rid of the money in the pools to supply the purses for the horses to run. Then there's no races. The middle guy who's upset that his price dropped needs to see the price drop and bet more to make more, join them instead of trying to beat them, or bet in pools they're not, or only go in the hard races where the CAWs cannot concentrate their efforts. That's all.
You're talking about
adapt. You have to adapt
or die
to make
or die
or die.
It's Darwinism.
That should be the name of your podcast. Adapt or die.
It's Darwinism at its finest. I agree.
Adapt.
The smart don't survive. It's those who adapt. But what I'm saying is,
if it all got wiped out instantly tomorrow, it would start up again in the vacuum created even a better self, like a phoenix. It would rise up at a better self, learn the lesson, and rise up. Everything goes in cycles. It would be burnt down, and then they'd go, you know what, we should have done this, and then that, but it would be consolidated then, and that's what we need.
I think one of the things that, and we can wrap it up soon, this has been long, it's probably hard for your brain, and I know that you're amazing.
My Craig Stadler mustache is getting a little old.
It doesn't look too bad. There's not a lot of people
call me the
there's
walrus.
Not a lot of people that can wear the mustache, but you can do it. But I wanted to say a couple things. One is I have so much respect for you, just given your brain and what you go through with your body. It is unbelievable that you can even.
And nobody knows what I go through. They see me here and they don't understand. I lay in bed 99% of the time, and thank God for my wife Sarah. And I take 23 meds a day and 3 shots, and I am in doctors about 3 times every couple of weeks just to stay alive. But hey, we enjoy it. That's why we're flying 44 to 50 times this year, taking 10 cruises, and I try to enjoy myself the best I can.
You earned it. I want to say that on the economic distribution of winning, there is an interesting thing about pari-mutuel wagering is that, there's points where sometimes if horses get overbet, then other horses become potentially profitable. But I do want to make sure that when you say follow the sharps, there's only so much money that can follow the sharps before they become bad bets and losing bets. So you can't just copycat. Like, it's not going to work. So you can't just expect people to get smarter, especially given the amount of work it takes when there's better games that are easier, that they've grown up with, poker, slots, which I wouldn't touch, but sports betting.
I can teach you.
I mean, you
Oh,
might.
sports betting is great. I mean, if you find a nickel line, it's only 2.5%. Vig, sports betting is the best game
Yeah,
besides
it's
blackjack or whatever.
well, it allows you because you'll see things like overreaction. Like, did you watch the Spurs and Oklahoma City play in their first game?
Sure,
So, what did everyone say? Oh my God, San
Spurs have their
Antonio,
number.
San Antonio is going to win this whole thing. It's over. I've never seen anything like this. And the overreaction put the series at 50-50. So if you thought that that was hype, you could have bet OKC at 50-50 rather than betting them at 70-30. And you could literally just wait for that context to arise and earn a profit. So there's a lot of special, psychology that comes into sports betting and going against the grain and that too. But anyway, no, this was good. We'll have to continue our debate and probably at Del Mar when you come out. Are you coming out for the live contest in July?
Yeah,
Yeah.
both live contests.
Okay. All right. Well, get
I'll be at Del Mar the next two. They're working on the track now, so we got some interference.
okay. Well, I'll let you go do your thing. Have fun in your tournament. Thanks for being Mr. Anderson on the podcast today. You're one of my favorite people, man. So
Okay, we'll see you soon. If anybody needs me, they know where to reach me.
yeah, they can. What's your Twitter? Do they know what it is or what?
BW Vegas 26. Most people know where to reach me. You can always find me on Facebook.
Well, I think it's cool that you lend your mind. That's rare. So, have fun out there. Stay healthy, man, and make some money.
Okay, good luck to everybody. We'll see you guys later.